Hi, I'm Dr. David Wank with Short Hills Design, and today we're doing a re-record of last week's webinar Wednesday, Organic SEO, Ranking Factors for Healthcare Websites. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. David Wank. I'm a practicing general dentist in New York City, and I'm the president of Short Hills Design, which is an internet marketing firm for dentists and physicians. And my contact information is here. You can obviously hit pause. I'll have it on at the end, and you can always get in touch with me in any of these ways. Here's an overview of the presentation. I'm not going to go through it because you can pause it and read ahead, so I'm not going to read the lines to you. So here's the introduction. Technical level, there is no technical level. You can certainly attempt to do SEO on your own or any of your, web or marketing work. That's fantastic. The technical level here is that I want you to understand the concepts of what's going on and why. If you have questions, obviously we're not live anymore, but if you have questions, email me, and I'll get back to you. Or you can ask me a question in our Facebook group or on Twitter. You'll find that information throughout this presentation. Okay, taking notes, again, it's a recording. Take as many notes as you'd like, but if you do want the slides, email me and I'll get you a copy of the slides. Okay, so this slide didn't make the transfer over. I actually wrote this in Keynote and moved it to PowerPoint, and I missed this one. So join the Internet Marketing Group for healthcare providers. It's fantastic. It's just healthcare providers and their staff, and one or two or three marketers who I know are contributing to the conversation. Sponsors. I want to thank first Aestheto Dental Labs, Mark Dykman. So they're a full-service dental lab in Maplewood, New Jersey. They do serve the whole country, not just New Jersey. One of the greatest things about Aestheto is that Mark, who is a co-owner of Aestheto, they do hundreds of CEs a year. So if you are in New Jersey or tri-state, there's a ton of good CE. I've taken a ton of them myself. I've given a ton of them myself. And they're inexpensive and they're really good programs. Call Mark, Aestheto.com. The phone number's here. The web address is here. And for new clients, because they want you to try their lab, for new clients, they will give you, they definitely have incentives to try their lab. Our next sponsor is Empower Practice Consulting. This is co-owned by a friend of mine and used to be a colleague, now is a colleague and a friend, Tiffany Polio Angel, and she is handling the end of the practice marketing that a lot of us can't handle. She and her team at Empower, what they do is they're the liaison between you and the community. So whereas Short Hills Design, we might help you, build up your web presence, get more traffic to your website. What Tiffany and her team are going to do, they're going to be at the local, fair to help man the booth for you, to help you generate new patients, to make that connection between you, your practice, and your brand, and the communities. So definitely get in touch with them at empowerpracticeconsulting.com. You can tell them that I sent you, that Dr. David Wank sent you, and you saw us on this webinar or mentioned Short Hills Design. Internet marketing for healthcare providers. So a long time ago, I wrote a book called The Web Design Workbook for Dentists. And I realized that the concepts that I have in that book are the same, whether you're a dentist, a physician, an attorney. So I adjusted the book so it's now called Internet Marketing for Healthcare Providers. So this is not a how-to guide. This is a understand before you buy. So if you want to understand what a website should have, read this book. It's going to tell you, you should have these pages. This is why you worry about page speed. This is why you worry about how your content is organized. This is what you need to know about colors and font. So again, it's not going to teach you how to do it, but it's like a diamond. You need to know, what kind of diamond you want to get, and you need to know about the clarity and the color, but you certainly don't need to know what tools they use to, remove the diamond from the original rock and this and that. You certainly could learn that if you wanted to, but that's not going to contribute to your ultimate decision. So this is a great resource. It's 100% free. You can go to healthcareimb.com and sign up and download a copy for free. The web design workflow. The reason I get into the web design workflow from the book is because it's very important for us to understand where all of this fits in perspective. So phase one is building your website, development, setup, built to Google standard. Phase two is search engine optimization, social media, pay-per-click, whatever you're going to do to drive traffic to your website. People will say, hey, David, I want to have a Facebook page and this and that, which is great, but if you don't have a website to act as a central hub, it doesn't matter that you have a Facebook page. So I want you to understand where we are in space and time right now. And where we are is organic ranking factors are phase one items, because part of it's the structure of your site, and organic ranking factors are phase two. Phase three, which we're not talking about tonight, is conversion optimization. What that means is once we have a website and once we've driven traffic to your website, what do people do when they get there? One of the things that I do all the time before we start doing any marketing for a new a new client, is, in fact, I had someone come to me and say, listen, I'd like to do SEO. And I said, well, how do you know you need SEO? How do you know you need the traffic? So we did a traffic versus messaging study. And as it turned out, that person has about the same traffic every month for the last year. So it's not a traffic problem per se. However, the bounce rate on some of the pages is very high, which means, for example, on the home page, 6 out of 10 people left the page without going to another page. 60% bounce rate. So what that means is all the traffic in the world, out of 100 people, 60 are staying, but 40 are leaving immediately. So before we spend money to drive more traffic to that website, I'd much rather see that the numbers reversed. So maybe we have 6 out of 10 staying and only 4 out of 10 leaving. Ideally we want 7, 8 out of 10 staying, only 2 leaving. But again, I don't want to drive traffic to a website where half the people get there and leave, because that's a waste of time and money. So introduction to SEO. So SEO, there's a lot of what's SEO, I want SEO. First of all, the purpose of SEO is to drive qualified leads to your website to get new patients. That's it, driving traffic. All SEO is, I'll repeat it, it's a phase 2 item, it is driving traffic. And again, phase 1 I mentioned because some of the ranking factors we'll talk about are phase 1, part of phase 1, building your site. But all SEO is when to drive traffic to your website, drive qualified traffic to your website. Obviously, if you, for example, you're in Massachusetts and you don't accept Mass Health, you don't want to drive Mass Health patients to your website. And if you do accept Mass Health, you do want to drive Mass Health patients to your website. So I could, drive 10,000 people to your website from overseas who are never going to come to your office, so those really aren't qualified. But you want to drive traffic to your website to get new patients. That's the goal of SEO. So big picture, how does SEO work? What's my workflow? So we research keywords that are relevant to the practice that have search volume. That whole process is an entirely another lecture about organic SEO and actually how we do it. If you're interested to see how that happens, what I would say is at the end, I'm going to give you a reference to a live program/blog that I'm doing with one of our clients, where I actually walk you through every single step of this whole process. And you lift up the curtain and you can see exactly how I make the decisions I make, what changes we make, what we look at. If you want to see the nitty-gritty, that's helpful. So we research keywords and we add these specific keywords on specific web pages. So for this example, whether you're a dermatologist or a dentist, we'll pick Botox because it works for both. So with Botox, what we're going to do is, let's say we've done the research and the best keyword we have is Botox Short Hills. So what we want to do is we want to take, this is step 1, that Botox Short Hills keyword and add it to our Botox webpage. Now, what if I don't have a Botox webpage? Well, you need one. You can't rank, and I'll say this later, you can't rank for a subject if you don't have a page for it. So we're going to add that Botox the Botox Short Hills keyword to that webpage. The goal of that is now when someone searches for Botox Short Hills, our page, not our site, our page is going to appear for that search. And then because our page is going to rank higher, we're going to drive more visitors to the website who now hopefully become new patients. That's it. How does social media fit in? What about paid ads? Also, those are in phase 2. So social media, AdWords or Google Ads now, Bing Ads, whatever you're doing. If you're giving out flyers at your place of worship, or whatever you're doing, those are different methods that we use to get people to your website. And here's a diagram I made. So you can see on the top, paid ads, Facebook, mailers, whatever you're doing. The goal of everything is to drive traffic. So organic versus paid search. This is a biggie, because people will tell me, well, do I have to pay to rank higher? And the answer is no. So what is organic search? So organic search is based just on the content of your website. So if you have a page that says, and we're going to use used cars as an example, that says, let's take a look. Used car dealer, you can look at the top of the screen where I have used car dealer in the search bar. Google is now looking through its database and saying, what pages do I have that match the topic used car dealer? And of all the pages in Google's database, they're looking through the file cabinet, so to speak, and saying, which pages are the pages that are most relevant to my visitor? And Google wants to show you the most relevant pages, because if you search for used car dealer and they give you a page about libraries in Maplewood, New Jersey, you're going to say, Google stinks, I don't want to use it. So Google really wants to make sure that when you type in used car dealer, you get pages that are relevant. So how do you make the page relevant? That's what we're going to talk about. So paid search is different. Paid search means you create ads, and when someone clicks, you pay. Notice that I said you pay anytime someone clicks. I didn't say you pay anytime someone becomes a new patient or signs up for something. So understand that when someone clicks, whether they become a patient or not, you're still paying. So the idea with pay per click is, look, everyone who clicks is not going to become a new client, a new patient, new whatever. So when you are using paid search, you've got to be really careful because as long as your return on investment outweighs the cost, you're okay. So in paid search, paying actually does make a difference. So obviously, Google's going to look at how relevant your landing page is. That is, the landing page is the page that someone lands on. So if you click here on the second one, Honda certified used cars, and it's really about, I don't know, Toyota certified used cars, that's not going to be such a great match because if you're looking for Honda and the page actually has Toyota, people are not going to like that. So Honda could pay as much as they want, but the person who put that ad can pay as much as they want, but if the ad says Honda and the landing page is about something else, Google is going to lower them no matter how much they pay. That's not relevant. Now, if you've got two people who are competing for the same thing and the landing page is very similar, how much you're willing to pay does make a difference in how high you will rank, but that's only in paid search. Let's look at search engine terminology now. So we said we have paid search and organic search. So we're going to focus on organic search, and within organic search, there's on-site SEO, things that you do when you build your site or while that you can work directly on your site, and off-site SEO, things that are not directly on your site. What we're going to talk about today really is mostly on-site SEO because those are generally some of the most important factors. So, organic ranking factors. Now, you're ranking pages, not sites. Recall, as I said before with our Botox Short Hills example, my goal is not to say, hey, I want to rank my website for Botox Short Hills. No, I want to rank my Botox page for Botox Short Hills. It's a huge difference because, your site, yes, every site does have a domain authority, so to speak, but when you're talking about search engine optimization, it's, a one topic per page. So we were doing some SEO for a client and we had initially came up about teeth grinding. And there were keywords that said, grinding teeth causes, fixing grinding teeth. So grinding teeth and grinding teeth causes are one specific intent of the search. So maybe we'd optimize our what causes grinding or what is teeth grinding page for those keywords. But for the person who said, I think it was how to fix grinded teeth or grinding teeth fix cost, we'd send them to a page about fixing grinding teeth and maybe even another page about the cost of fixing teeth. But we want to match the search with the intent. If someone says grinding teeth cost and we get them to a page, what is grinding teeth? That's close, but it's not as good as the actual cost, or we won't really give them the cost, but talking about the fees or what's involved in general would much better match the person's search intention than just grinding teeth. So when it comes to ranking factors, there are approximately 300 different ranking factors that Google takes into play. We don't have to know them all, thankfully. Now, competition. This is a very important concept. You are not competing against, Amazon or eBay or Google or Coca-Cola or any of these monsters. Monsters meaning because they're large. I'm no comment on whether they're monsters as companies or not. I mean only in a sense of how big these sites are and how big the companies are. So if you are a dentist or a physician, you're only competing against your competitors who in your local area. So for example, let's say you were doing Botox Short Hills, and that's the keyword you're looking for. You're competing against other websites that are doing that as well. So if your competitors who want to rank for that have, sites that load really quickly, they have the SSL certificate they need, we'll talk about that, and every other factor, that's going to matter. But if no one else is, if nobody else in your area is trying to rank for what you're trying to rank for, you could have a slow site that doesn't meet the mobile friendly test, that is difficult to use, that takes forever to load. So you shouldn't do that because you never know one day who's going to pop up who does, meet all of Google standards. But certainly you're not competing against, large companies that are not relevant to you. You're competing against, Google's weighing where you rank against your local competitors, people who are trying to do what you're doing, not against this arbitrarily large, against CNN or an arbitrarily large company. So SEO foundations, some of the things that you have for ranking factors are because Google said so. I know that sounds ridiculous, but when it comes to SSL certificates, which we'll talk about briefly, that's the padlock you see at the top left of the browser when you go to your bank or Amazon to buy something like that. And Google has said in the last 2 years and pretty much in the last year now that Every site should have that padlock, should be SSL secured. In my opinion, that's preposterous. We are dentists, we're physicians. There's really no reason to, we're not doing bank transactions. There's no reason to have that certificate, but Google said so. And since they said it's a ranking factor, we do it. Agree or disagree, doesn't matter. So here are some of the ranking factors. I made this diagram for a PageSpeed lecture I did last year, but this really hasn't changed. So again, these are just some of the things that go into it. And when you build a website, someone once consulted with me and they said that their rankings were great and then something changed. They said, what changed? And I said, the truth is we could go back and do the research to try and figure out what changed, but figuring out what changed, even if we could, might not make a difference. Because the only thing that might have changed is maybe a competitor added a page to match that person's page or to compete with it, and that's what happened. So moving forward, you want to make sure that you are building sites or updating your sites to meet with all of Google standards. You're going to go out there and do what you're supposed to do. You're going to have low page speed. You're going to be mobile ready. You're going to use proper title tags. You're going to have SSL, like we talked about. You're going to have your Google My Business profile filled out because, again, moving forward, it's much easier to say, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, not trying to go back and say, what didn't I do? So we do understand what the ranking factors are. Obviously, these are just a handful. We don't know the relative weight, and that can change. Again, I made this up, the width of this diagram, but I can tell you that obviously if you want to rank for Botox, you've got to have a page for Botox. If you think about it, let's say there's 10 people, dentists and physicians combined in Short Hills, who want to rank for the keyword Botox Short Hills. Well, if 5 of those providers don't have a Botox page, they're out of the picture. Now you've got 5 providers who have a Botox page. The competition is now among those 5 people because you can't rank for Botox, or at least you can't rank well for it if you don't have a page about it. And these weights might change. Now that every site is responsive and mobile friendly, then it's almost assumed that that's going to happen. So there's a way they figure out this algorithm that we just don't know. But again, moving forward, you want to do everything you can to do it right because that way you're covered no matter what. That way, if you do everything like you're supposed to do, and you're still not ranking, at least you're in the conversation. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're not in the conversation. Then you've got to make all these changes to get you into it. So, and you might just be at the baseline level, but you've at least got to be there. So let's talk about now the most important ranking factors. The most important ranking factors and the easiest ones for us to control as web people and you as the provider, as the owner to control are on-site factors, the structural things that make up your site. Title tags and heading tags. So all your pages should have unique title tags, and they should properly use heading tags to organize the website. This is something you can say to your web developer. Web developer, I was at a talk, and they said that we should have title tags, H1, H2, H3 tags. That is something that has to be done. So you've got to understand, this is probably the most important thing, because the title tag is the title of the page that tells Google this is, so a title here you might make is then Botox Short Hills. And so the second thing is to have your keywords apply to these title and the heading tags. So here we go. Do you have a dedicated page and optimized for the desired keyword? So you can't rank for Invisalign, for example, if you don't have a page about it. So, and here I made up some keywords: Invisalign Short Hills, Invisalign Short Hills NJ, Invisalign Essex County. When we do the research, we find out what people are searching for. And let's say it's Invisalign Essex County, I'm making it up. Then we'd optimize our Invisalign page. The title would be Invisalign Essex County, and our headings would have those, those words distributed there. Page speed. Page speed is a ranking factor. I don't know how much it is, but it is. And again, if there's 5 of you, right, because 5 don't have a web page about Botox Short Hills, if 5 of you have a web page about Botox Short Hills, and the first person's website takes 10 seconds to load, and the other one takes 9, and the other 3 take 3 seconds, now it's probably a competition among those 3 people who have the fastest loading sites, or whatever their factors may be. Google My Business. I'm going to tell you another example after. So verify your listing 100%. Well, verify it, but complete it. Complete the profile 100%. 95% is not equal to, exclamation equals, is not equal to 100%. And why does it matter? Because Google said it does. What it comes down to is, the reason it matters is because now let's say we have 3 of us who are trying to rank for Botox Short Hills. and we all have the proper title tags and heading tags. We've all got great content. Now, I don't know if I have a page that says Botox Short Hills, and I have SSL and I have great content and all the title tag and the heading tags, but my page is really slow. But I have my Google My Business filled out 100% against someone else who has all the same things except their page is really fast. But Google My Business is 75% filled out. I don't know who's going to win, quote unquote. And what if, that person doesn't have SSL, but I do? Who's going to win? Which is better for the user? One web page that says we do many services including crowns, veneers, dentures, root canals, and Botox, and the page loads in 3 seconds. They verified Google My Business. Everything is perfect. SSL, perfect. However, the competitor has a page that's just about Botox Short Hills. The page loads slowly. It's not SSL. The answer is I don't know who's going to win that. And the person with the great content that's really just about Botox Short Hills, where it's all about Botox Short Hills and not, one topic of 5 on that page, the person who does take a longer time to load without the SSL, they might actually rank higher because, again, it's about the content. So, because I can't tell you that, well, if I have Google My Business, when I lecture, I pick one table and say, you guys have Google My Business and you guys have SSL. This side, you don't have those, but you load quickly. So, I don't know the answer, and nobody does, which is why don't we just have a quick page speed, verify Google My Business, have SSL, do what we're supposed to do. It's a much easier way to rank moving forward than trying to figure out what's the best combination. Mobile friendly test, this should be a no-brainer at this point. You've got to pass this test. No-brainer, because any developer building a website today knows about this, and if they're not, get a new developer. Not a no-brainer for you. You are the provider. You're not supposed to know how to do this. So this is, something that your developers got to know. And I was just talking to a new client this week, and she said to me, I don't really understand any of this. I don't know it. This is so difficult. And I said, no, it's not. I said, you just aren't trained in this. I said, believe me, the decisions you make, for treating patients every single day are far more complicated than any decision I make building a website. So just because it's not familiar to you doesn't mean that you are, doing what you're doing or whatever it is. Because I can't expect you to. I don't know how to take out a pancreas. I'm a dentist. This is not what I'm trained to do. So understand, if you don't understand this, don't worry. You weren't trained in this, so it's totally understandable. And that's why you're watching this. So you've got to pass this test. You can pop your website into the URL, do a search for Google Mobile Friendly Test on the web, and this will come up or something like it, and it will tell you, you pass or you don't pass. It might tell you pass with some caveats, but as long as you pass, you pass. Now let's talk about content. So again, on that fictitious Botox Short Hills page, you want to have a minimum of 250 words for a page. Your page can't be, my name is Dr. David Wank, and we do Botox and Short Hills in my office. Come see us. That's really not good. It doesn't count. I mean, if you have nothing else to say, that's better than nothing. But if you're really trying to rank for that, if you're writing your hygiene page or your office hours page, it doesn't matter if it's, 150 words. How many ways can you say we're open on Tuesdays? But if you want to rank for a specific keyword, you want to get into that 300 to 400 word count range. Alt tags. This is really, really important. So this is supplemental, but it is really important. So what an alt tag does, and again, say to your developer, do we have alt tags? I don't know what this means, but I want alt tags. So it provides supplemental context. So this is a picture, and I show it at every lecture, and I ask the audience, what is it that we're looking at? And they say, it's a Westie. It's a Westie in sunglasses. It's a Westie in sunglasses who's wearing denim. It's a Westie who's cool. And the answer is, they're all right. Because let's say you have a web page about dog food, and then you make the alt tag, our dog food is so delicious that your dog will feel, cool again. So there you go. It's about dog food and feeling cool. Or this could be about a clothing store for dogs that says, that sells denim and says, hey, our new denim line is so cool, or our new denim line is so comfortable, your dog's going to want sunglasses. Or it could just say, this is a Halloween outfit for Westies on a West Highland Terrier website. So the alt tag, you're not going to write that this is a picture of a motorcycle. It's not. You could, but obviously it's not going to make any sense for you to do that. So the alt tags help give context to what the text of the page is. Google can't read images yet. And even then, like I just told you, there's no way for that computer to know. This is a Westy sitting down. This is a Westy waiting online to get his order at Burger King. Who knows what that is? So that's why you have to have context for it. And competition matters. So as we said before, if it's you and two competitors, well, there's three people who are going to rank for a keyword, so I'm not so worried. So when you get to this situation, when you have your website with a ton of competitors, that's where all those factors I talked about come into play. Because again, I don't want to say, well, I'll just skip the SSL. The answer is I have no idea what everyone else is doing. I'm just going to come out with everything I can up to standards. And standards are not a secret. There's no special relationship with Google. There's no submitting to search engines. Google has said, and you can do a search and say, what do I need my website to be to rank well, and to meet these standards, and they'll tell you. So just meet them all, because by meeting all the standards, that way what happens is you're in the best position to be in this conversation. And you can also download a copy of the book, like I talked about. I've redone the first 7 or 8 chapters, and a lot of it is in there about what you have to do. Resources. If you want to know more about SEO and get a behind-the-scenes SEO walkthrough, visit this page on Short Hills Design. There's the link for you. Click in the curriculum button and click on one of the lessons. You'll get the whole list. Or again, you can join the Facebook group and you'll see I update the videos as it goes. But you can actually, again, see where I get information from the client about brainstorming, and we convert that into a keyword list, a huge list, and then work that down to ones we're going to use. And I also talk about the site audits that we do, because again, I do want to make sure we're up to standards before we do SEO, and so do you. The audit's really important, because if your page takes 15 seconds to load, that's really going to hamper even the best SEO efforts, because that's a huge strike. Now, if your competitor's pages load at, 3.5 seconds, 5.5 seconds, and your loads at 3.8, 3.2, I don't care. I just don't want it where you rank, where everyone else that you're competing with has a page speed load time of 3 to 4 seconds, and yours is 12. Like, that's a problem. And that's why there's an audit. Now, one of my favorite quotes from me is, "What you hear about Google changing its ranking algorithm is mostly irrelevant. Keep publishing new quality on-topic content and you will do well." It just happened, I think, 3 months ago. It came up on Dentaltown about a big algorithm shift, and I said, yawn, and it was a yawn. And then just recently there was the Medic update where it's not even a Medic update. They updated a lot of sites, but someone said, oh, this is medical sites and healthcare sites. But again, these algorithm changes are designed to make the search engine get better results for people like you and me who are doing what they're supposed to be doing. If you're gaming the system, what Google doesn't want to say is, we're updating the algorithms to make sure that people who are cheating are not, are doing worse and worse every time. What they should say is that, we're updating algorithms so people who do what they're supposed to do are going to do better. Thank you very much for your time. Here's my contact information. I'm sorry that didn't come over from Keynote at the top there, but there's my contact information at the top. Mark from Estetto's at the bottom left, and Tiffany from Empower Practice Consulting at the bottom right. Please let us know if you have any questions. Again, you can email me for slides. Find me on the Facebook group. Find me on Twitter. Shoot me an email or call me. I answer my own phone. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.